Hello, everyone, and welcome. I guess it's Monday afternoon now. I was going to say morning, but good Monday afternoon, and welcome to Gentle Movement at Home. Super glad you're able to join us today. Thanks for making the time. I'm Jen Hansen from Pain BC, and joined today by Sue Schellinck, who's an occupational therapist working in chronic pain and has done so for a very long time and has been a long time Pain BC collaborator. So excited to have Sue here today for 2 days in a row. We got lucky. Had her on Friday too. Just before I move on to the next slide, I know everybody's probably familiar with this message by now, but just a reminder that Sue isn't able to share or provide specific medical advice to you. So if you do have a question you want to write in, you just put your question in the Q&A, but do just keep it to the movements and sort of anything related to today's session. Okay. We are recording this session. It's available on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. We do launch a poll at the end. If we could get your feedback, that would be really helpful. If you have any questions or any technical difficulties during the session, just put your questions in the chat. And again, any questions for Sue can go in the Q&A. I will read them out to her at the end, and we'll just spend a few minutes if people do have some questions. So after today, we've got 2 more sessions. Tomorrow we are going to be joined by Neil, and Friday at noon again with Neil. So I will stop there and turn it over to Sue. I hope everyone has a great session today.
Thanks very much. Over to you. Thanks, Jan. You're always so kind in your introductions. Appreciate that. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am excited to be here, and I'm excited you're here, wherever you are. Today, we are going to do some lovely, relaxing, I think fun, gentle movements. So I want you to keep that in the focus of your mind, just having a nice, relaxing time with these movements. We've got lots of options. You can sit, you can stand. I have a chair that swivels only because I'm going to be showing some side views and some posture stuff. But if you need arm rests, that's absolutely perfect. And great. What I'm going to work on today, the thinking that I had for this is something maybe a bit selfishly that I need, which is some exercises that really help me sort of undo the effects of sitting, because I am sitting a lot. I'm doing a lot of work from home at my office. I no longer drive to work. I don't have my walk to my car, from my car to the office, etc., etc. So I'm finding I'm getting pretty tight in here. In my shoulders, I'm finding my hips are getting a bit tight. So these are some nice gentle movements to kind of help a little bit with that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start, as I do every movement session that I do, I want to go over some things that can help make you feel really safe when you're moving, okay? Again, these movements I do are just suggestions. Your body, your nervous system, some days will allow you to do the most difficult version that we're going to do today. And then sometimes your nervous system is going to only let you do the sort of the lower levels of movement or the more restricted range of emotion. So you choose what's right for you today in a relaxed, gentle, and fun environment. All right, and I say that because my experience with people in pain is that the people in pain that I work with tend to be a few things. One, they tend to be very high achievers. And it doesn't matter what your actual occupation is. Most people in pain that I work with tend to do things very, very well. They're very, very thorough in what they do. They do an excellent job. Again, the title of your job doesn't matter. It could be making your bed, right? It could be, you could be an astronaut. Whatever it is that people do, they do it very, very, very well. And they also tend to be very kind and giving. They tend to give to others before they take care of themselves. So here you're building, your brain is getting this idea that you're going to push through physically, cognitively, emotionally to get anything done, and you're going to take care of others. So this is a really nice chance to take care of yourself. It's a really nice chance to sort of undo those sort of effects of sitting a lot. And it's a chance to have a moment for yourself, and to teach your nervous system it is totally okay to move. Movement is fantastic for your nervous system and your body, and we can do it in a gentle, safe way that allows us to move forward. So I'm going to bring in about 2 volunteers today. Well, 2 voluntolds, but you know, that's why we have kids. They're going to come in and help. First, I have Sophia coming in. We're going to go over a few posture things. So this is my eldest Sophia. I'm going to move the chair back over to you. All right, so I'm going to get her to sit down in the chair. And again, if you need to have armrests, that is totally fine. Now, in order to feel safe for this, I want you to think about a couple of areas: the cervical spine, which is your neck, and your low back, which is your lumbar spine. Now, those are fantastic parts of our spine. They've got a lot of mechanisms to keep us safe. They're also the most mobile parts of our spine, and sometimes people can have issues with this part. So we're going to look first. Hello, Sophia.
Hello.
we're gonna, and I've asked her if I can put my hands on her and safe, and she trusts me.
Mostly.
She's a teenager, but she still trusts me, so I think that's a huge win as a parent. Yay me. Yay you. All right, so again, you can sit and stand for all of these, totally your choice. We're going to talk a bit about the neck or the cervical spine. So I turn Sophia this way. We can see her neck is a little bit rounded, and let's pretend you got a bit more hunched shoulders. Pretend you're typing on a computer for me. Right, this is the kind of posture we tend to have in sitting. So what we want to think about is making sure that we're nice and safe with our neck posture. One of the things we can do is we can sort of tilt this part of her chest. I'm going to turn a little bit more, sweetheart, there. This part of her chest here, and this part here, so the lower ribs, and this is the upper ribs, and we're kind of just correcting. So you see that we're taking this lower ribs and upper ribs, and we're just kind of correcting that. We're not pulling the shoulders back. We're not reaming these back. We're just correcting the chest position. You can see the neck is a little bit still forward. What we want to do is think about pulling up nice and tall. These are much better in line. All right, and the last thing we want to do is, what is the neck position? So I'm going to stand here so hopefully you can see between her neck and her shirt. Okay, so one of the things we have is we have people who with back or with neck pain that have their neck way too high. We want the neck to be kind of neutral. So how do you do that? I'm going to come a bit closer. I'm going to show you. So how do we do that here? Well, what I do is I tend to put my thumb down like this and make a fist, and I put this lower knuckle right here, right in that little notch. Now don't push too hard, just rest it right there, right? So then I have my chest up, I have my chin down, my chin is fairly neutral, and for me, my fist fits naturally, and that's a perfect spot for me. You might have to add a few fingers if you have a beautifully long neck. I do not. Or if your neck's a bit shorter than mine, you might have to have sort of just 3 fingers in there, that kind of thing, okay? This has really helped me. After I had my wonderful kids, I had some carpal tunnel from being pregnant, and I'd wake up and my whole arm would be totally numb. So I would get up and I'd shake them all out, I'd walk around and hope and wait till it all settled down. What I taught myself to do is get my head in the right position, nose in line with sternum, right? And then I would put my fist there. And my body learned that if my head was in this position, it was good for my nerves, and I could fall asleep really quite easily. So if you can make sure your head's in that position, again, not all the time, but just you know that's a very safe position, we can definitely move from there. The next one is the lower back. Can I get you set up for me, please? Okay, great. So we step forward. There we go. Right to here. What happens to the lower back, and I've mentioned this a few times now, is that when people bend, they tend to tuck their bum under. So you can tuck your bum under and then bend your knees. Right. So the bum is tucked under. That means right about this point is where her back is bending to sit down, or don't sit down and move the chair. When she's bending her knees and stand up. Does that feel okay? Or does that kind of feel uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, right. But the thing is these muscles back here are protecting so tight and strong, they're protecting the back, and that's coming from the brain, that it feels natural and normal, right? What we want to do is we want to bend from right here. This is her hip. So bend instead and just have your bum go out. We're doing a little bit of bending for those who are in standing, not a ton. So when you do think that, bring your belly button in and have a nice little bend out. Perfect. And the last thing to remember we've talked about is that tripod. So just below your big toe, just below your pinky, and in front of your heel, we're standing on a tripod. So if you are going to shift your weight, make sure that you're not turning your foot out. I'll back up. You can have a seat down below. Great, okay. Make sure you're not turning your foot too much that way. You wanna, if you're shifting, make sure your inside of your, like, so your big toe is still have a nice amount of weight on it. Then you know that you're safe in your standing and safe in your balance. All right, so we're almost gonna get going. I wanna start with my ready, set, go. Ready means get your nervous system ready. So let's think about our breathing. Let's take a second to just pay attention to our breathing. Just notice it. Notice if it's short, right? Every time you exhale, make your breath just a little bit longer, a little bit slower and smoother. Again, don't force this. If you lengthen your breath too quickly, especially if your nervous system's in a really heightened state, you can get a bit dizzy. So just slowly lengthen. The nervous system loves a long, slow, smooth breath, right? When we're in that fight and flight, we're definitely breathing very, very fast, right? And we're moving very fast. So today's, one of the benefits of today's movement and of gentle movement as a whole, we're teaching that we can move slowly with intention and with nice, long, slow, smooth breathing. All right, let's have our muscles. You've got, I hope, ways to rest your muscles. Okay, just bring the tension away from them. I'm not going to go through them. I think you've had lots of tutorials on that, although I love talking about how to rest the muscles. Most of us, if you've been someone who's moved a lot and you're as a child or young adult, or if you're a child and young adult and you've done some sort of sport, you've learned how to rest your muscles a little bit. Good. So now our thoughts. Let's have our thoughts on safety. Right, we're getting the nervous system ready to move. We want our thoughts to be safe. We want to think about, oh, this is going to be nice. I can't wait to move. I wish you would stop talking so we could move. You were thinking it. Right. But just have your thoughts on safety. Know that you're not going to push through everything. You're going to just enjoy and do what feels safe and comfortable for today. Okay. All right. Now, get in the posture, right? We want to have a nice posture, nice and tall. We're not forcing posture, and we're going to move our posture. There is no perfect posture. We do have postures that are safer for our spine, but we can definitely move in and out of them, no problem. So nice. Do you feel pretty relaxed? Okay. Right. So posture feels good. We're going to do nice big movements. We can do some visualization once you've learned some of the tools. We'll talk about that in a second. And one final, even though we've gone through the nervous system, one final check on your muscles. Sometimes right before we move, we have that anticipatory fear and our muscles get tight again. One final release of the muscles, and then let's go. So the first thing we're going to do, I might get you just to shift over a little bit more. Do you want to stand up and move your chair? Let's move our arms. There we go. All right. So Sophia's going to be in sitting, and I'm going to be in standing. Just pay attention to our breathing. All right, we're going to inhale, and our arms are going to go up, kind of like a V. Keep them below the shoulders, and we exhale, and they go down. Now, don't follow us exactly. Okay, if your breath is a different rate, that's okay. And down. Sometimes if we can hear our breath going out, that's kind of calming. Good. Maybe put 6 of each, if I count properly. Sometimes I get lost in this. Breathing in. And this should be so effortless. I love that, effortless. We're moving, but it's effortless. Good. Okay. Now, if any of the moves I'm doing, if visually you see me do it and that sort of makes you flinch, you can always just sort of close your eyes, and you can always just go back, either visualizing this one or actually doing that one, okay? We don't want you to stop moving, but it is really good to keep your brain thinking that you're moving. All right. The next one is we're going to lead with our elbows. So we're going to have our elbow up and then open our arms. Okay, good. Breathing in and out. So what we're trying to do with this one, we're trying to really open up this clavicle area, breathing in. So I'll probably keep talking if you want to keep doing it. Okay. Breathing in. And breathing out. So this is a nice shoulder rotation. So the elbow comes up, my hand is forward, the palm is now forward, and I've rotated my shoulder. Good. Okay. Breathing in. So you should feel the shoulder rotate. Again, keep your elbow nice and low, right? If we're keeping the elbow low, we're not engaging too much of the shoulder, but we're getting a nice rotation in there. Good. Breathing in. This should feel really nice. Breathing in. There we go. Breathing in. That's 6. One more. I get so annoyed when people when I'm following someone and they lose track. I tell you, it's pretty easy to do. If I do too many and you want to stop at 6, that is okay. Good. Shake that one out a little bit. Now we're going to do one where we're looking at separating our scapulas or our shoulder blades. I'm going to get her to turn around. Again, this is why we have a rotating chair and not a chair with the armrests. What we're going to get you to do is I'll show you what this looks like, and what we're trying to do is separate these scapulas. So we're trying to get one to go down and then the other one to go down. We're trying to get them to move separately without necessarily moving our shoulders too much. So we're looking at some nice movement here with the scapulas with this one. So if we can set our intention to the scapulas moving, that's going to really help this exercise. So we'll get you to turn around again. So thank you. All right, so we're going to pretend we have a ball, and it can be any ball you want. I'm envisioning a nice, lovely beach ball. Today is a lovely day. It can be pretty colors. It can be one color, whatever you like. And it's going to be out in front of you like this. Drop your scapulas down. Keep your elbows in. If our elbows are in like this, it's a bit easier on us. You can have your elbows right in. If you feel that's a bit easier, that's fine. I'm going to have mine out a little bit more, and you can decide where you are with this. Right, if you are in standing, do try to remember to relax your leg muscles, pull your belly button in. All right, so then what we're going to do is I'm going to drop one scapula and that arm drops. Right? We're just going to do like a little rotation, almost like you're putting your hands on either side of the ball and you're just turning the ball. Think of your scapula dropping. Your shoulders aren't necessarily moving much, right? Our torso's not moving. Breathing in. And breathing out. Right? You can have a much bigger ball if you want, if that's a bit more of a challenge, or you could have a much smaller ball. Just pay attention to your scapulas as they go down. Should feel gentle. Should feel easy. Good. Now you might find that your jaw is tensing up a bit. Sometimes when we work on that upper body, your jaw gets tense. So if your teeth are touching, that's actually too much tension. Our teeth should not touch in a day, right? I can work on that later if anyone wants a suggestion for that, but just let your jaw relax. All right. Okay, and relax that one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a really nice, for the shoulder, we're going to do some backward arm circles. We're going to keep it nice and low, okay? So you want to start your elbows low, your belly button in if you're standing or even if you're sitting, right? And we want to really think about opening up this area right here. So think about more your elbows coming back together. Worry less about how high your elbows are and think about how pulling them back together. So we're going to start with the elbows not quite to the shoulders and pulling them back and letting them drop down. Okay? Right in front, pull back and let them drop down. Good. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Good. So Sophie's not doing as much as the range as I am, and that's fine. We still do want the shoulders moving, so she's still got her shoulders having some nice movement with that. All right. Did I do 5? I don't know. I was following you. Okay. Right. Now we're going to do a balance one, and you can do this again sitting and still have some good effect. or in standing. Now, again, this is where we want to really bring to mind that tripod on our foot and make sure that when we are shifting our weight, that we have that nice and solid, and then we feel good about that, okay? If you are in sitting, you can move, you're good there because you're on a stool, but if you're on a chair, so you can, to make it a bit more challenging, move to more the edge of the chair. You can have your hands gently on armrests or holding onto them, totally fine. In standing, you can have your feet closer together, or you can have them a little bit further apart. I'm going to kind of go in the middle, sort of right underneath my hips. I feel pretty safe doing that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lift our foot up. Sorry, we're not going to lift our foot up. I'm going to lift my heel up and raise my arm. And as we do that, I'm not going to lift my foot, but I'm transferring my weight to this leg. I'm lifting, my toe is on the ground. Good. That's all we're doing. Shift your weight to the side if you are, and lift. Again, toe staying on the ground. My toe is on the ground. I could do what Sophia's doing. I'm not sure if you can see her feet. And she has just lifting her heel. She's not lifting up onto the top of her toe. She's just lifting her heel. So I'm going to do a few of those. It's a really nice modification. There, and with breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. In. And again, go at your breath rate. Belly button in, jaw relaxed. Okay, now we're going to alternate. So the foot, the knee that's bending, the opposite arm goes up. There we go. You should think of your tripod. Now you can make this as sort of active as you want. You can have some nice real arm movements, some big arm movements if you like, or you can keep them nice and mellow. Oh. All right, there we go. Okay, so that is round one. We have 2 more rounds of that and 2 more alterations. If that's where you are today for 1 or 2 or all of those moves, perfectly great. We'll have you there. And Sophia will keep doing that round. I'm going to quickly just have a little rest break, right? Shake your body out, get your breathing, relax your face, relax your muscles. All right. Have a sip of water if you have some nearby if you like. I'm going to get you to shove over just a little bit this way. Now maybe just a little bit more. There we go. All right. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about visualization. So we are going to start and we're going to do just a version kind of up from that last round of 6. So visualization is a fantastic way that you can actually keep moving without moving. So if you want, you can stay with whatever level of movement you want, but you can visualize a different level. So if you want to stay with the level that Sophia will be at, but visualize sort of a higher level of movement, then that's going to be really good for your brain. Your brain actually thinks you're doing that movement when it's not fully doing a whole movement, and your brain can get a higher level of safety. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. It's a very short explanation of visualization. The one thing I do want to say though about visualization is sometimes when you visualize doing a movement, it can actually create sort of a discomfort sensation or even a level of pain, especially if it's something you're visualizing that you do a lot that causes you pain every single time. You might actually have that pain tag when you visualize. That is okay. If that happens, before you do visualization of something that does cause you a certain level of pain, almost always, then you want to make sure that you are doing a nice relaxation, a nice meditation, a nice calming bit prior to trying that visualization again. And hopefully we can then bring in a level of comfort. All right, and not have that pain when we're visualizing. So I'm going to bring in my other volunteer, Jasmine. Come on in. Great. So Jasmine is going to be doing level 2 of this. I'm going to get you to go right here, Jasmine, if you want to say hello.
Hello.
Great. Okay, we're going to get going again on the same 6 movements. We're going to change it up just a little bit. Again, Sophia will be doing what we've just finished, and we're going to have Jasmine just do a little bit variation of that. Okay, so this time, let's do the ready, set, go. Get our nervous system ready. Are we ready? So our breathing. It always feels so good when I stop to pay attention to my breathing. All right, rest the muscles. Have our intention, have our thoughts on safety and fun and gentle. Have our thoughts on it's time for me, time to take care of me. It's time to put effort into me. Right, good. Okay, that was our ready. Are we set? Okay, our posture's good. I'm feeling pretty good. I've got my belly button gently pulled in. I've got my tripod going. I'm feeling good. I now can, since I've seen the movements, I can visualize some of them. So that's good. A final muscle check. Great. And then we go. So the first one again, I'm going to turn this way. The first one is the arms going up. So we're going to inhale. Sophia's going to go to her shoulder, and Jazz and I are going to go overhead. And exhale. Now, to make this easier, you can put your thumb up, and that's sometimes an easier way to go overhead. And again, this should be effortless. Effortless. Breathing in. Scapula's down if your arms are going overhead. Breathing in. Good. Breathing in. Good. Scapula's down. Oh, good. Good, good, good. That feels so good. All right. So now we're going to do the one where our elbow goes out to the side. We're going to try and really open up the clavicles here, really open up our shoulders. Have this open up like this. You can also think of it as, I'm not sure if you can see, but if you want to, so turn a little bit more, you know, bring your scapulas together. Bring them, yeah, you can think of doing that kind of movement. So normally, and that is a bit of an arch, but that's okay. Thank you, sweetie. Normally we're so much like this, our scapulas are pulled apart. We can think of bringing our scapulas together quite nice for this one. So again, we're going to lead with the elbow, right? And so we'll do, Sophia will start. So lead with the elbow, right? Out, bring your scapula in. Okay, what Jasmine and I are going to do, we're going to actually get a shift. We're going to shift going. There, and a shift. There, okay, so you can do this in sitting, you can do this in standing, you can shift if that works. Breathing in, don't forget to breathe. Good, bring the scapulas in, that feels so nice. And if this movement feels weird to you, it's really good to do new movements. So just worry less about what this looks exactly and think about just going with the flow. It can be a bit higher if you want it to be. Great. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Shake that one out a little bit. That feels good. Now we're going to do the ball one again. So get your ball, your pretty birdie ball. Okay. We're going to start. We're going to lean this way. Okay. Sophia's going to do the same thing where she's dropping the scapulas down, focusing on dropping that shoulder, that scapula down. What Jasmine and I are going to do is we're going to shift. We're going to bring our rib and our hip closer together, and then go to the other side. Okay. Good. Breathing in. Good. Breathing in and out. In and out. Good. So keep doing that, girls. So what we're looking for is when she goes this way, we really want the ribs and we want the hips to separate. Okay, and when it comes to this side, we really want them to nice and come close together. We're looking for a really nice stretch in here. You might even be getting a little bit of a stretch down into here, and that's good too, okay? Again, gentle, effortless with breathing. Good. Great, okay. So I'll take that one off a little bit. Oh, I need a bit of a stretch. So now we're going to do some backward arm circles. So what we're going to do this time, so last time we did the backward arm circles like this. This time what we're going to do is Jasmine and I are going to put 1 foot behind. Okay, so if that's comfortable for you, that's great. You can do the same thing on the chair. If you're sitting near the edge of the chair, you can put 1 foot a little behind. We just want a little bit of a drop in that leg, just a nice little stretch to here. So we're going to do this time, right? And then we're going to do some of the same things with the arms though. Okay, we're opening up through the chest. Good, right? So I'll do a different view there. Breathing in and breathing out. So you might feel a bit of a stretch through here. Make sure your belly button's pulled in and your muscles are relaxed. Breathing in. Okay, last one, and we'll switch legs. All right, there. Now standing on one leg too long is an issue. You can always switch your legs every time, do an arm circle, and then do an arm circle, okay? So we're just gonna switch legs, right? And we'll do it again, so breathing in. So you switch legs too? I did, okay, good. Breathing in, good. So Jen, I'm gonna have you more stand on this foot. So more stand on the foot, let that one sort of be behind. So you're gonna have your weight on your right foot, good. Good, okay, good. Breathing in. Good. Well, most of the weight on that front foot and standing nice and tall, you just put that 1 foot behind a little bit. Not too far. This feels so nice. I really need that hip flexor stretch. Good. All right. So shake that one off. We're going to that balanced one again. All right. This time when we do this, we're going to lift the same arm and the same leg. So again, be really aware of the leg you're standing on and what that tripod's doing, right? Belly button in. Okay. We're going to very slightly, if you want, lift your toe off, but you don't have to. Okay. So slightly lift. What I don't want is you lifting your leg up and dropping it down, okay? We want a really controlled movement. So if you're lifting your toe up and you can't sort of control that, we're just gonna keep it on the toe, and that's totally fine, right? So breathing in. Really gentle, slight clear from the floor. Belly button in. Good. Good. Okay. This time we're going to switch arms and legs. So opposite leg to arm. So a little bit. Makes your mind think a little bit. Right. Breathing. All right, last one. Good. And there. All right, so this time we are going to do a little bend in the knee. Okay, make sure we're doing that. We're getting the bum going out. A little bend in the knee, and then we're going to have our arms go all the way forward. All right, at this very edge here, I'll get you to turn to us. Okay, so arms front and back, a little bit of a bend. right? And when you get there, if you can do a little bit of a pull this way, so a little bit of a stretch of your arms, good, and then come back. So we're not turning the torso, but when you get to that bit, if you can just do a little bit of a turn like that, that would be good. If not, we can just get to the range where you're forward, and that's totally fine. Okay, so I'll get you facing forward. Alrighty. And you're gonna do your same? You're good? All right, let's go. Breathing in. Out. All right, let's go. So breathing in. So sorry, I like to bend and come up. Pardon me? You're just forward and back. Yeah. There, a little stretch. So bend and little stretch. Bend and little stretch. Good. Scapulas down. We're not having our elbows over our shoulders for this. So since we are turning the torso just a little bit, make sure that when you start, you've got a nice lift in your torso. If our torso is kind of crunched, then we're not going to have a nice feeling of turning, right? It's just a little twist of the torso. Okay, well, that feels good. All right, so that's the end of those second set of 6. We've got one more set left. Hopefully you're finding this is relaxing and enjoyable. Again, remember, we're doing what we feel comfortable on. Today, what you're able to do might be different than tomorrow, might be different than yesterday. Meet yourself where you're at today and be totally good with that. All right, you guys ready? Okay, good. All right, so ready, set, go. Is my nervous system ready? My breathing? Okay, hey, my breathing's good. My muscles, relax them. My thoughts, safe, gentle, fun. Good. My posture, we're onto the set. Ready, set. I'm posture set. Got an idea of what I'm going to do. I can visualize if I want. And my muscle check. One final muscle check. Good. And we go. All right. So this one, what we're doing. So again, Sophia's going to do round 1. Jazz is going to do round 2. And I'm going to add a third little bit. So this one, when we breathe in. So let's breathe in. Arms go up. If you want, you can do a little look up. Okay, breathing in. Only if that feels good, right? Scapula's down. Do a little look up. Maybe only your eyes go up, and that's fine too. 4. There. Oh, that feels nice. I'm gonna do one more.
Okay.
Just, I like the breathing with that one. I don't know. I always feel like I'm getting more air into my lungs when I do that one. All right, so we're going to lean with the elbow again. So what we're doing, we've got Sophia. Do you want to show us what you're doing with the elbow? Good. That's it. And then Jazz, what you're doing? Right. Right. Good. So Jazz has got that shifting of the weight going, which might not be obvious. Shifting of the weight. Good. So what I'm going to add is as more shift weight in the torso, and turn my torso. Okay, so it's going to be a nice twisting. Again, nice and tall. And you don't have to move your torso much. You can move it just a little. Or you can do a bit more of a bit. There we go. And gentle, gentle. When I'm doing this, you might not see my heels coming up. So my feet are not staying the same. I'm definitely turning my heels, right? I'm turning my body and I'm lifting my heel. All right. Okay, that feels good. So this time we're going to get our ball out. We're going to, Sophia, can you show us what you're doing? Right, scapula's down, think scapula's down. Chest nice and lift. Okay, and Jasmine, do you want to come in? We're going to do the shift right. We're going to do that nice side. Good. Nice side. Nice side. Good. Now I'm going to take mine overhead. Okay, and I'm going to do this, still twisting. Let the shift going. I've got a nice big stretch.
You can't see your hands.
Yeah, a little bit overhead. You can't see my hand. You're right. All right. And shift. I'm a long way. Okay. I'll wait for you, Jess. You go that way. Yeah. There we go. And shift. All we're trying to get, however you can do, is a nice long stretch in here. You can even just bring it out. Maybe the ball comes down and goes over. You don't want your arms going too high. Right. I'm going to go back up overhead. Such a nice stretch. I'm off again. Why is it always me?
Yours takes longer.
Well, and I'm maybe talking. Okay. And one more luxurious, gentle stretch. Oh, that felt so nice. Hopefully that felt really nice for you. Right. So this time we're going to do those backward arm circles again. So we've got Sophia doing the backward, yeah, coming forward, elbows back. It's okay. All right, you've got Jazz doing it with 1 foot back, a little bit back, not too far. Okay, so there we go, 1 foot back. There. Okay, so I'm gonna do it with my foot a little bit further back again. I'm gonna have my weight here, but I have this foot a little bit further back. And I'm gonna do more of a chest lift. So I'm not arching, but I'm just, instead of like this, I'm just lifting my chest, okay? So arm circles. Breathing in. Try not to lift your shoulders, try and keep your scapulas down and your arms go back. I think I was doing that too though. I think I noticed on you because I was doing it too. And if you want, you can go overhead. I'm gonna do the last 3 overhead. So good. Good. All right. Oh, I got to do the other leg. Something's wrong with that. All right, we'll get the other leg backwards and we'll do that again. So I'm going to do the first 3 with my arms low and the last 3 high. So again. Breathing in. All right, and last 3 overhead. Remember the belly button in. Jaw nice and loose. And last one. All right. Okay, that felt so good. All right, we're doing the balance ones. So we're going to, again, Sophia will be doing the one where she's lifting her foot, right? Either to the ball of her foot or to the toe. Jazz is going to lift and just do a little lift, right? Good. Little lift. Good. I'm going to go a little bit higher, but very, very controlled. And if you do need something for balance, that is totally fine, right? So that is totally okay to have something for balance. Use you, right? But again, it's coming up and down very slowly. Breathing in. Same with you guys. This should be relaxed. You should still be able to have a relaxed jaw, right? Belly button in. Good. And then we'll start this and find that your foot's dropping. If that's okay, if that's the case, just go back to where you're putting your toe onto the floor. Good. Now let's alternate arms and legs. Remember the tripod, especially if your foot's coming up off the floor, even a little. I love the slowness. I love the control of this move. This is such a good one for your balance. It's also a good one to help with the stair movement. All right, okay, last one. So we have Sophia doing the swinging arms back and forth. Again, have this be effortless. Feel graceful, and if you don't feel graceful, just feel effortless. Some of us have more grace than others, and it's not required for this. But if you can have that feeling, it feels wonderful. Jazz is going to add a little bit of a bend and a pull. Let's get coordinated. Here we go. Thank you, Sia. Thank you for changing. A little bit of a pull. Good. And I'm going to have more of a bend. Again, remember the bum going out. We're not going to tuck the bum under when we're doing this. Okay. Right. So I'm going to swing them in opposite directions. Nice torso twist. Right. Now, if you want the torso twist and don't want the arms overhead, easy to do. Right. Easy to do this, no problem. Now I'm going to go the other way. Here. As much or as little torso twist as you want. That is all good. And the last three, I'm going to go overhead. It feels so nice. My scalp is dripped down. Had to pull the belly button in because I forgot. It does that. Great. Oh, you know what? I can do one more. One more. Oh, nice stretch at the end. Yeah, so let's finish. We're all done with those movements. Couple breaths just to finish it. Okay. Move how your body needs to move. Stretch fingers, whatever you feel you need, whatever part of your body's calling to you. All right. I do 3 breaths, kind of like the beginning ones. We're just going to breathe in and out. Congratulate yourself for coming here today. I'm glad you did. Breathing in. One more. Breathing in. And out. Oh, that felt so good. Okay, I want to thank Sophia. I think you're going to head off now.
Yeah.
Right. And thank Jasmine too, although I do need her for one more second.
Do you want me to take the chair with me?
Sure, please. Thank you. Or just push it to the side, that's fine. It falls apart when you lift it. Just like that. All right, so a couple things about any one of these movements. If you loved one of them and you find you're sitting a lot, just do that one move, you know, and find some benefit from that, opening up here and opening up the hip flexors a little bit. So that can help you ease that sort of the muscle tension that comes with sitting. Another thing to think about is, you know, when we think about we need to move more, sometimes that's a bit overwhelming for people. And so maybe think about sit less, right? So, you know, get up for commercials. If you've been sitting for 20 minutes, just do a quick stand. If you can, a torso twist if you like that, or just opening up those clavicles, because that just feels so good. That can be really helpful. Even just sitting less is a good place to do. Now, another thing you can do is you can look at lying flat on your stomach. Now, if you immediately went, then this is not for you, right? I'm going to see, Jasmine, can you put a yoga mat on the floor for yourself? I'm just going to get Jasmine to show sort of 3 variations of how you can get sort of a nice stretch with your upper body. There we go, right on there. Okay, and I'm going to tilt this just a little bit so you can see what's happening. So Jazz, I want you to lie down on your stomach, please, for me. Okay. Great. So if you can lie flat on your stomach, that is fantastic. Oh, you can just put your hands, you can put your head down. No. Yeah, hands up, that's lovely. So you can just put your hands, your head under your hands. If you can do neck to one side, whatever feels safe and comfortable for you. I'm not going to give you specific instructions for that, right? But one thing you can do, if this works for you and you need a little bit more, you can bend your knees, put your feet up to the ceiling, just bend your knees, right? Okay, when you're doing this, make sure your belly button comes into the spine. So and make also sure that you're relaxing your gluteal muscles and your hamstrings. So the muscles on the back of your legs you're relaxing. Now, if that's working and you want a little bit more, you can do what Jazz was doing initially. Jazz, if you want to then come up on your elbows just a little bit. Right. So just like that, you can get a little bit of a stretch that way. Now, this might seem a bit much, and that is totally fine. But from my experience with people in chronic pain, they come in all shapes, all sizes, and all abilities. So this is a nice stretch also to open up. Great. Or you could, if you put your legs down, Jess, or you could just be in that position if that feels comfortable for you. Okay. Thanks very much, Jess. Great. All right. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found that, thanks Jess, you can stay or you can go. I hope you found that helpful. I hope you found something. I'm not going to assume that everything you did today you love, but hopefully you'll find one or two things that can help, you know, sort of the antidote to all the sitting we're doing. I'm not assuming. I'm sitting a lot.
Andy, yep. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was a really nice class. Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
At the beginning, Sue, you were talking about resting your muscles.
Right.
And there's two questions here. How do you rest your muscles? What are you talking about when you're saying that, and how do you actually do it?
Right. Well, most of the time I have no idea what I'm talking about, what I actually do for this one. Now, what I mean is relax, right? But again, going back to the beginning, I said most people that I meet in chronic pain are very, very high achievers. So if I say relax, first of all, when you're angry and someone says, just chill, relax, nobody wants to hear that. But your muscles don't want to hear that. If you say relax, that gets kind of an end outcome. We have an expectation that we're going to have muscles that are fully relaxed. So one, that's hard to do when you're moving. So when I do say rest, I just use rest instead. So what I'm really saying is just to rest your muscles, just to relax your muscles. But I want to take away that idea of you have to reach a relaxation state in your muscles. I want your muscles to go from wherever they are now, whatever tension level they are, to a lower level of tension. It's a really, really good question. A lot of different ways you can do that. I find as a very young athlete, I was taught what's called autogenics. And you often see, you ever watch gymnastics and you see them do their floor routine and they get to the corner and they're about to do their tumbling line. What do? They kind of do this pause, right? Now the thing is, if you're about to do a really tough tumbling line, you can't do that if your muscles are like this. If I try doing cartwheel and I'm like this, I can't do a cartwheel. I have to rest my muscles. I have to get them into a state of length and a state of readiness though, right? So we're looking at that sort of rested state, ready to move, but not already moving. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And I was taught that through something called autogenics, and that's kind of just paying attention to a body part, and then you make that body part feel sort of heavy or feel at rest, or whatever feeling that works for you, because everyone's quite different with that. But that's what I'm looking for. Another one is that I quite like is passive muscle relaxation. So if you could just Google online, passive muscle relaxation, that teaches you just to pay attention to a body part and rest it. Of course, a lot of people in pain have a really hard time with that, and I get that. So if you, let's say you have hand pain, you can look at, and then not above the hand, you can look at resting all of these muscles above, right? Or if you have lower back pain, you can look at resting your leg and your upper body muscles, because hopefully the effect will work towards that area of pain, because it's really hard. There's all that automatic tension around that area of pain quite often, that splinting that our brain does for us. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Just looking at having muscles that are not as tense as they were.
Thanks, Sue. And I've got two more questions, and I'm just conscious of the time.
Okay.
But because we've only got 5 minutes, but just as a follow-on to that one, how do you relax your jaw and your face
Great.
when you're moving your upper body?
Okay, so this is something you might want to do prior. You might want to do this sort of a lot, and then you can use it only when you need it, and it becomes very, very effective. So what happens is our teeth should never touch. Ever. Like even when we're chewing, they shouldn't be touching. So if you find that your teeth are touching, every time you find your teeth touching, you want to do this funny little exercise, and I'll sneak forward so you can see, right? You want to take your tongue and you want to put your tongue on this outside. You want to breathe in and you want to run your tongue along. I won't do it yet. Run your tongue along the outside of your upper teeth, and then you run your tongue along the outside of your lower teeth. And what this does, we're going to do that in a second. If you put your fingers right in front and behind your ear when you're doing it, okay? So what you'll find is that the jaw will actually go back and forth. Now this socket here is a ball and it's a ball and socket joint. It's not a hinge. So our elbow's a hinge. We think that that's a hinge. It's not. So what this does is it actually gets the ball and socket moving really nicely, and that relaxes and massages the muscles around it and allows our jaws to relax. So we're going to breathe in, tongue this way. Breathe out. Okay, breathe in. Right? So we do that and do that about 6 times. You do it every time your teeth touch. And the very first gentleman I did it 100 times the first day and stopped counting. He had to do it so many times. But I saw him 3 weeks later and he's only doing it 1 or 2 times a day. So it's a really nice thing. You can still do that while you're breathing. If you're standing, right, and you're doing, say, one of these leg lift things, you can, you know, maybe don't do it at a bus stop or at a restaurant or in public, but it looks a bit silly, but it's incredibly effective for getting those muscles to relax. Because if we just stretch like that, it actually makes the jaw go tighter. So jaw tightness is often stress. I've probably used up my 5 minutes. Sorry, Jen, is there another question? But that's how you can relax.
You know, I think a lot of us have tight jaws and clenched teeth, so that's really helpful too. Okay, one more question. We've got 1 minute now. So someone is just wondering, they say they get a small kind of stitch or a cramp in the side of the ribs. Any, like, I guess during these sessions, can you do anything to minimize that?
Well, it's hard to know without assessing someone and finding out a bit more information. But what I can say in general is a lot of us who are sitting too much and who aren't spending enough time is we spend time like this. So doing just even upright. So if that is making you crampy, we've got these muscles between our ribs that are probably a bit too tight from cinching forward. One of the other things you can do actually that might help with that is if you take a yoga mat and you take a little yoga mat really quick and lie on it. So you just lie this way and put that on your back. So she lies down on it. Okay, I thought the other way, but that's okay. Yeah. So you've got something under your back and that just nicely opens you up, right? So even just opening up and lying in a T, that'll get our ribs in a nice. So that might be the easiest. So start on your bed, lie in a T with your arms up as high as you can manage. And this is a different one where you actually have something behind you opening up that way. That'll hopefully open up those muscles that are so tight.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Jasmine. And thanks everyone for coming.
Great. Thanks so much, Jen. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Bye.